Hello students, now I am going to explain female reproductive system. And female reproductive system again consists of primary structures called ovaries, and just like pair of testes in males, females have a pair of ovaries. So ovary, ovary. Now these are the primary parts, primary components of the female reproductive system. Again, for the same reason that oogenesis takes place in the ovaries, or eggs and or ovum is produced in the ovary. Now the ovaries are connected to the uterine wall through ovarian ligaments. Now ovary again performs a dual function. It behaves like an exocrine gland when it is producing eggs, and it behaves like an endocrine gland when it produces female hormones, that is estrogen, progesterone. The female hormones are again responsible for the production of secondary sexual characters in the females. Now, there are two ovaries, students, but once in a month an egg is released from any one of the ovaries, right? Generally, it is only one egg which is released in one cycle. Now, when we talk about cycle, what do we actually mean is, students, there is a cycle of 28 days. Generally 28 days. The length may vary from female to female. Now, what happens during these 28 days is, if we take a time graph like 1 and 28 days. Okay. Now, from the first day, this uterus wall starts becoming thick. Okay, it starts becoming thick from day 1. On about day 14, it becomes the thickest. Okay, it becomes thickest so as to receive the fertilized egg or the embryo. Now here, so you can say that this is the wall and here it is most thick at day 14, right? Now the egg is generally released from the ovary on 14th day. The egg which is released either from this ovary or that, left or right, is caught by these funnel-like structures which are having finger-like projections. So this is oviduct. So you can see there is a pair of oviduct, and these finger-like projections are called fimbriae. So fimbriae catch the egg. So the egg is here. Okay, let us come to this side, and the egg reaches here. Okay, now egg has entered the oviduct. When the egg has entered the oviduct on day 14, it waits for the sperm for say about 72 hours, right? And if the sexual intercourse takes at that time of the month, and in the vaginal tract the sperms are there, so they travel on both sides, right? Due to the chemical stimulation, the egg is swarmed by a large number of sperms. It is not that a single sperm. Very large number of sperms are there in one ejaculation. Now they swarm and they surround the egg. Then due to the chemical secretions, the egg wall is dissolved and only head of the sperm So if this is the egg, okay, so egg fuses with the sperm. The tail remains out. So the fusion takes place and we say that contraception has been done. Sorry, conception has been done. So once the conception is there, we say that the female is pregnant. But she comes to know after 28 days. So now it was thick. Now it will remain thick for the full gestation period. Fertilized egg here is now called zygote. Now you have to remember that zygote is a single cell with diploid nucleus, because one nucleus from sperm and one from egg. It immediately starts division, multiplication, and it changes into embryo. Now embryo is moved from the oviduct into the uterus. Okay. Once it reaches the uterus, so you can say that the two oviducts combine to form a triangular elastic bag-like structure, the uterus. Now the embryo reaches here, then the villi, finger-like projections from the embryo side and from the mother side, they combine to form a disc-like structure called placenta, which is, connecting the embryo to the mother's body, right? Now when the differentiation takes place and the heart is there in the embryo, heart starts beating, so now it is called fetus. So you can say sperm fuses with egg and fusion gives zygote. Then zygote gets converted into embryo and embryo gets converted into fetus. And the fetus gets nutrition from the mother, because fetus is not capable of having its own food. So fetus gets nutrition from the mother through the umbilical cord with the help of placenta. So what is placenta? Disc-like structure. It has very rich supply of blood, right? It is connected to mother as well as to the fetus, and fetus is connected to the placenta with the help of umbilical cord. So placenta performs the function of providing food and oxygen from mother to the baby. So it provides food and oxygen from mother to fetus. Okay. And it also acts as an endocrine gland and produces a hormone which helps in labor, in delivery, and in the maintenance of pregnancy. So that is the function of placenta. Now, after the gestation period is done, then you can see this opening of the uterus into vagina is called cervix. The baby, the fetus, takes this position, head towards the cervix. There is dilation of cervix after rhythmic contractions of the uterine wall. The female is said to be in labor. The cervix dilates, opens, and the baby fetus comes out through the vaginal canal. This is called normal birth, vaginal birth, and this birth is very healthy for the child because the child becomes more resistant towards the diseases and all. Okay. Now the vagina is also called birth canal because this is the passage during the normal delivery for the child to come out of the mother's womb. Okay. So once the fetus is outside the mother's womb, it is still connected with the placenta. So the doctors have to cut the umbilical cord and ligate it tightly, and afterwards the placenta is also expelled through the vagina only. The expulsion of placenta from the mother's body is called afterbirth, and the coming out of the fetus from the womb is called birth of the baby. Now this was that on 14th day the egg was released and conception took place. Now we come to the other thing, that okay, the day 14 is there, egg is there, but there is no sexual intercourse, no sperm is there, right? So no fertilization. Okay, so no fertilization. Then slowly and slowly the uterine wall, interior uterine wall starts degenerating. Okay, that is, it degenerates. There is no spongy wall now. Okay, so when egg was released on 14th day, there was no sexual intercourse, no fertilization, so it led to the degeneration of the wall as well as the egg, and it all came out through the vagina in the form of menstrual bleeding. So after 28 days, the cycle restarts. The cycle restarts, and again, if the conception will be there, then the gestation period will be without any menstrual flow. Now, when a girl is born, there are thousands of eggs in the ovaries, but they are not mature. Once at the age of puberty, when the eggs start maturing and for the first time the egg is released from the ovary, no conception is there, and for the first time the menstrual flow is taking place, that is called menarche. So what is menarche? When a female is having her periods, her menstrual bleeding for the first time in her life. At the age of 10 to 13, it varies again from, person to person, the climatic conditions, diet and genetics. Then at the age of, say, 45 to 50, again the variation can be there. The maturation of eggs stops at all, that is, now the female is no more able to bear children, and this is called menopause. Pause, that is, the egg maturation has stopped. So that is all with female reproductive system. I hope you have understood. Thank you so much.